Well, Mr. Worf, as you are aware, several new security officers will be transferred into the Enterprise next week, and I would like to discuss...
Kyle to Lieutenant Worf.
Worf here.
I'm sorry to bother you again, Lieutenant, but I forgot to mention that we need to arrange for a series of placement examinations for Alexander. If you could tell me
This is not a good time. I will contact you shortly, Miss Kyle. Sorry, Captain.
I would like to discuss with you the specific areas of ship security that I would like to...
Sick bay to Worf.
Yes, Doctor.
I need to schedule a physical examination for Alexander. I also need his complete medical records from Earth and the medical records of his
I
mother.
would rather discuss this at a later time.
There's no rush. Crusher out.
Mr. Worf, you are not the first officer on this ship to have a new family member. Take care of your son. The security matters can wait.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fully Functional, a TNG podcast. I'm Maggie, joined by Jeff and Dory.
Yo.
Jeff and I are Star Trek veterans, and Dory is a rookie Trekkie, and we are taking her on our first journey through Star Trek The Next Generation. Today we're discussing the Season 5 episode New Ground. Original air date is January 4th in 1992, and as always we'll take it to Dory for the recap.
Okay. So we start off, the Enterprise is approaching planet Bilana 3, where a new method of propulsion known as the soliton wave is being developed. The Enterprise has been asked to participate in one of the first tests of this technology. Geordi is so excited. He is losing his mind of excitement. And it's very adorable. And then Data responds, "It should be interesting." And then Worf goes, "Very exciting." And then Geordi goes, "I'm talking to the wrong crowd." Yeah.
I mean, at least he recognizes that.
Yeah. Okay, so then Worf gets a subspace message from a ship called the Milan, and it's his mom.
It's Mammy.
I was like, oh, yay, Helena. It's been a very hot minute. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, okay, this is such a minor thing, but why is Worf taking his call in engineering? Like, go to your room or go somewhere private. Like, it feels like Worf, of all people, would not really want other people to listen to him talking to his mom.
I mean, he didn't know who it was when it called, or when he answered the call.
Oh no, I know, but Worf also doesn't seem like someone who would like want to have like a full out chat with someone like out in public.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
He feels like more of a private-esque person, so that was a little surprising, but whatever. So Helena is there with Alexander. Oh, they're coming to the ship. Oh my god, he's so big now.
That's because he's played by a different actor now. Woo!
I know, but it's so cute. And so Helena is describing... Oh, okay, so her and Worf... Are they in 10 forward? They're like having a chat or something.
Yeah, they're in 10 forward.
Yeah. And she's like, he's smart, he's high-spirited, a lot like you when you were that age. And sometimes when he comes running through the house and he knocks over that big green lamp, just like you used to do. And Worf goes, well, I don't remember you smiling when I knocked over that lamp. And Helena goes, well, maybe once when you weren't looking.
Aww.
So then she explains to Worf that her and Sergei are getting up there in years. They're old, and they would like to just be grandparents. They don't want to be parents again, which I think is fair, but I don't think this was the way to go about doing this whole thing.
Yeah.
By the way, here's your son. Bye.
Yeah, they're like, I brought Alexander. He's yours now. Okay, bye.
Okay, wait. To be perfectly fair, Worf is unreasonable for just kind of calling them and be like, hey, could you raise my son?
Yeah.
Like,
this is all handled very
But at least he
poorly.
called first. He didn't just dump them on their doorstep.
Yeah, I mean, I get, at least it was extenuating circumstances. It's a situation where obviously, the mother of my child that I just found out about was just murdered. It's complicated. So, like, I get it, and
Yeah.
I forgive Worf for that. I don't necessarily forgive Worf since it's been a year and he hasn't made any effort to try to change around this, but, whatever.
Yeah.
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 So
Helena shouldn't have told Alexander that he was staying before she talked about it with Worf.
Yes.
yeah, she also should have talked to Worf before bringing Alexander on the ship and being like, "Bye, later days."
Yeah.
Because that was pretty shitty. Yeah. So also we learned that Alexander kind of has a bad attitude, and he's disobedient and is a bit of a
He's
liar.
a shitty
so
kid.
Great.
I just want to go, or not go. I just want to lay out one little thing here that like lays out the expectation for Alexander for the rest of his appearances, including the one that you're about to talk about. But the writers thought that would be a lot of fun to have a young Klingon on the show and see what Worf is like as a father. So let's dive right in.
And so we're going to start with that by saying some sad shit because, oh my God, I regret looking this up. So I wanted to know, okay, not like spoil it, but like when I was IMDbing this episode, because I wanted to know if I wanted to know who the kid was who played Alexander, but I did not get that far because I got distracted by the fact that I clicked into the actress who plays Helena, and I learned she died that year. So this is the last, from what I understand, my guess is this is the last time we ever see her.
Yeah.
Which is so sad. I almost cried when I saw that.
Oh no.
I was like, oh my God, no, she was like the best other than this. But, but I was really bummed that like that's the last time. I did look, and Sergei lives, like the actor who plays Sergei lived to like 2015. So, I mean, there's a chance in my head that they'd show him again. But man, rip to the lady who played Helena. I can't remember her name. I never ended up checking to see who played Alexander's son because I just got upset about the actress who played Helena. Okay, anyways. So back to the episode. Okay, so Worf has weird small talk with Alexander as they walk to meet his teacher, Miss Kyle, who I think is a truly terrible teacher.
Really?
Yes, I'll tell you why I think she's a bad teacher. Okay, so they go in and she asks how to she's like, let's start with your name. How do you spell Rushenko? And they all just kind of stare at each other. And then she's like, it's cool, I'll sound it out. And then she's like, when's his date of birth? And nobody moves again. And I'm like, Worf, how do you not know your child's birthday at this point? You've known him for a while now. But ultimately then Alexander like says his birthday. I wrote it down. 43rd day of MacTag, stardate 43205. But yeah, I could not believe Worf didn't know his child's birthday.
Yeah. That like, sets him up for being a failed father.
In. This is like we're too far in for him not to know this. So, okay. Then Worf, so then he has a meeting with Picard about new security people coming aboard the Enterprise. And Worf wants to, Picard wants to discuss the placements, but then they get interrupted by Miss Kyle and then Dr. C. And then Picard's like, Worf, Mr. Worf, you are not the first officer on this ship to have a new family member. Take care of your son. The security matters can wait. I feel like they can't. This feels urgent. I feel like security matters.
Yeah, but they're for
wait,
stuff that isn't going to happen for a while.
But they said next week.
You can take a day or two.
Yeah, it was more of like a. Plus, there's other security staff too. Worf is the head, but there's there's a second in charge, presumably.
Listen, it's at this point it's Star Trek. I can't assume shit.
That's a fair
point. Okay, but what I did assume was that something was going to happen because Picard was in his sport mode, but Picard didn't do shit. So that was a misdirect for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so Worf leaves, and then Picard. Oh, okay. I think this is on the bridge. Oh God, I don't know anymore. Picard goes warp without warp drive. Oh no, this is when they're in the. Wait, is this in the lounge? No, I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Picard goes warp without warp drive, and then Riker goes, "They're gonna put you out of a job, Geordi." And then Geordi goes, "I hope so, Commander." Why, Geordi? Why would you want to be
Because
put
then
out
he
of
can
a
do
job?
something
That
else.
response is so weird.
Well, because it's he's excited by the new possibility of technology, right?
Yeah, but if it puts him out of a job, I mean,
Well,
I guess he just finds a different job.
Well,
but...
it kind of shows that Geordi, he cares more about the advancement than his own
Yes.
job, basically.
Okay, that's nice. Oh yeah, then they do a whole. I think it is in the conference room because there's a guy who does this whole speech about the, what's it called? About the warp shit. I did not write it down. That was too much stuff for me to. I would have been sitting there for a long time. If you want to know the details of it, watch the episode or Google it. But I can explain some stuff later, but not this shit. This part I didn't pay that much attention to. It was too much stuff. Okay, so back on the bridge, Troy's like, "Oh, hey, Worf, are you going to the father-son field trip this afternoon?" And Alexander came on the ship like 2 minutes ago. And then Worf's like, because Troy says it'll be a good opportunity to meet the other parents and students. And I'm like, maybe he should like quote unquote meet his son first. He barely knows Alexander. He doesn't know his birthday. Why are we having him encouraged to meet parents and other children? Have him get to know his son first. Also, what is this field trip? They're just on a different part of the ship. No, it's fine. That's fine. I just was like, this is a weird thing to encourage. Like, if Worf knew Alexander better, yes, bring him on the trip. But this was like, I don't think this was necessary. But anyways.
Well, Troy doesn't know how well he knows Alexander or not.
But I feel like, can she not vibe it?
That's true.
I know she's trying to be helpful, but then the thing is, like, I'm not blaming it on her. I'm saying Worf should have said no. She does. I mean, she doesn't need to know I don't blame her for suggesting she thinks it's a good idea. I think Worf should have said no because he needs to get to know his kid before he gets to know his kid's class. So, yeah. Okay, so now we're on the field trip. Miss Kyle is like, "These are rhinos. They are extinct. Now let me show you what we're trying to prevent from going extinct." It's these things called Corvin gilvos, and they just look like branches.
Yeah.
I have a fun little fact about these things, actually. I'm not really sure why this is, but so when I was a kid, I got several Star Trek action figures, and one of them was a character from Deep Space Nine, a Ferengi named Quark. And for some reason, that Ferengi comes with a pet one of these things as like a little accessory.
That's wild.
And it makes no sense because they are never seen in DS9 at all.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so weird.
I don't even think
They're
they're
not.
mentioned. Yeah.
Oh, wild. Okay, so then like Alexander looks at these guys and he sticks his finger into the cage. I thought it was going to get bitten or something, in which to me that's a huge design flaw, because if you're bringing children to this on this field trip, or like being allowed to go into this display, I feel like the cage should not have big enough holes where the children can put their fingers through.
Yeah, probably
fortunately,
not.
that didn't come into play, and they didn't try to eat his fingers.
It doesn't look like they have teeth even, so it's probably fine.
I mean, but those guys were only in there for a temporary amount of time.
Yeah.
Because they were like moving them or something. But yeah, I just feel like make if you're gonna have a thing, make like holes small enough that no children of any age's fingers can pop in.
Yeah. That's smart.
Okay. And Miss Kyle truly looks like she would like to be anywhere else. I kept wondering, like, does this woman want to be a teacher? Because everything about this episode was like either she's like burnt out, like no one I've ever seen, or she just like became a teacher because like there was nothing else for her to do. Okay, so then she... so the kids are looking at other stuff, and she called Alexander over, and in front of basically, like, she doesn't, like, shout it out to, like, be like, oh, this is super public, but she does call him out in a space where any of the kids or parents could overhear. And she's like, you stole a thing from the other thing. She's like, I should have mentioned that everybody can, like, play with this thing before because you stole it.
Here's the thing. I'm going to disagree with you. Because, like, that's what she does. She's confronting him about stealing a thing. But it looks like she purposely waits till, like, everyone is, like, away from the immediate area and kind of doing their own thing. And she frames it in a way where it's not like, you stole. She's like, maybe you misunderstood that the figurines were for everyone and you weren't supposed to take them. Which I think is, like, a good, like, a better way to do it.
Yeah, because it's not accusing them of anything.
Yeah, I agree with that bit, but there was still, like, kids in the shot. So to me, it didn't feel like she pulled him away to, like, she didn't, lower her voice. She spoke at, like, a regular, it felt like it was still too, like, public, if that makes sense. I do like that she was like, oh, I might have not made it clear enough that, like, everybody can play with these. But, like, it did feel very much like it was still in front. Like, any of the kids could just turn around.
I didn't really get that from it, personally.
Like, overhear it.
Yeah, to me it always came off of, like, she tried to do it in as least public way as possible.
They were also, like, doing this in the same scene as, like, a directorial choice. So there's that as well. And it's clearly framed in a way where it seems like she's doing it away from the group, at least.
Yeah, just for me, there were other kids in the wide shot. So, like, to me, it's not, like, pulled aside enough because it does, like, feel a little too public. So, okay, Alexander, though, like, so she said that she saw him steal it because Worf's like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, I saw him steal it. And then Worf's like, Alexander, did you steal it? And he's like, no. And then actually he did. He absolutely did. It's, like, not even, like, subtle. It's in his, like, front pocket.
Yeah.
Dude, the lack of acting in that scene where he's just looking up at his dad like, yep, nothing has changed. I'm just looking right at you. It's like a fucking deer in headlights.
That is how kids lie, too.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, so the lizard's in his pocket. And then Worf goes, Alexander has acted shamefully, and as his father, I must now deal with him. But I find I would... Oh, okay, sorry. This is, like, at the next scene. This is his voiceover, his personal log. Alexander has acted shamefully, and as his father, I must now deal with him. But I find that I would rather fight 10 Baldock warriors than face one small child. So then... Worf asks Alexander why did he lie and why did he steal it? And Alexander's just like, I don't know. Which, to be fair, okay, that is a very kid answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, like, I can't really fault Alexander for, like, he looks like he's, like, what, 6 or 7 years old?
Yeah. I mean, kids literally sometimes don't know why they do things.
Yeah.
Because they just
kids are very, like, emotional, like, they go off, like, they're not thinking of logic.
Yeah.
They're just gonna do shit because they feel like doing it.
In Star Trek's defense here, for the first time, I feel like they wrote a child that is acting like a child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because a lot of times children, like, they, like, us as adults, we have the lived experience and knowledge and words to describe, like, hey, I'm acting out or I'm grumpy because of this or that, right? All kids know is, like, I'm mad, so I'm gonna do this. They don't really rationalize why they're mad or why they're doing certain things because they just don't have the experience or knowledge to really understand that's why they're doing it or even to describe what they're feeling. So that is, I'd say that is fairly accurate.
Yeah, I did not have an issue with that. So then Worf gives him a lecture of like, all I have is honor, and when you pull this shit, you dishonor your family, but most importantly, you dishonor me. Thanks, Worf.
Worf is such a fucking like he is more Klingon than Klingon to a fault, and it really is like a fucking like a mark against him as a person, like.
Yeah, this was very unfortunate.
Yes.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Well, I mean, it's like the writer said. They wanted to get to see what Worf is like as a father, and oof.
We didn't need it. We didn't need this. Okay, so then Troy then asks Worf how the field trip was, and Worf's like, "Oh, you didn't hear? The boy." So welcome back to Boy Corner. Worf says the boy twice in this episode. So that was nice. And I wrote like 3 times in my notes, like, Alexander needs therapy.
Yeah.
Get this kid in therapy. Worf, you also should do therapy,
Yep.
which, like, yay. Okay. So we meet. Oh no, we don't meet. I don't know. I think we saw him earlier. Dr. Jadar. He's the guy in charge of this experiment. Okay, so they like. They're beginning launch sequence. Okay. So like the waves, like they send out the waves and then they like shoot a ship right into the waves, like the test ship. And then it's like flying away. And then like warp efficiency is at 98%. And then they're like, just kidding, it's at 73%. And now the wave is out of control and it's just going to keep going. So like, oh boy. And the wave is just growing and it's going and it's starting to affect the Enterprise. So they're like, quick, full stop. And then the test ship explodes. But this was also some really great being thrown around physical acting for everybody.
Yes.
This was great. I enjoyed this immensely because everybody went flying on the floor at one point. It was great. A+ all around. Okay, so there are 27 injuries, no fatalities, minor damage. So the wave, basically, at this point, I guess, is like gone rogue. And, okay, so now Worf has a parent-teacher meeting with Miss Kyle. And she says Alexander is defiant, overly aggressive to the other students and has trouble paying attention. And he's still lying and he's stealing. Oh, she doesn't say this. I'm just paraphrasing. And he acts like a bully, but says other people started the fight. And then he said that Worf said that Klingons don't listen to teachers, which honestly, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, so then Miss Kyle has a great idea, and she's like, "You considered therapy?" And Worf's like, "No, never." And then he's like, "Where's Alexander?" Honestly, this is pretty funny too. Alexander is in holodeck 4, and what program is he doing? Calisthenics program of Lieutenant Worf, difficulty novice.
He's doing the program that he was conceived in.
Yeah. Oh, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh
I forgot.
because like they also fight Skeletor. Oh no. And Alexander is fighting Skeletor.
How does he even
God.
have like?
How does he know to do this?
How does he have the ability to access the holodeck? Like
Yeah. Do little kids do this? Also, now this just makes me think how many.
Because Worf is also a shitty security
Yeah, I
chief.
guess.
Okay, but now, I just thought of how many children have been conceived in holodecks.
probably
Oh boy,
a lot.
that would need to be cleaned pretty thoroughly often. Oh no. Oh god, don't blacklight the holodecks. Okay, so all right. Okay, so Alexander actually like kicks Skeletor's ass, and so Worf actually can't help but be like a little impressed. And I just wrote, I think Alexander needs like extracurriculars.
Yeah.
Give him like an outlet. Give him something to do it like that can like, I don't know, keeps him busy outside of school just so he can get out like not necessarily his aggression, but like, you know, have something that he can be like
His energy or whatever.
yeah. Energy is a good way to put it. So, Alexander says that Miss Kyle is lying and making up stories because she doesn't like him. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not really a big fan of Miss Kyle, but I do think it is plausible. Okay, I don't think it's plausible she is making this shit up, but I do know there are teachers that would pull that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think she is a shitty teacher to do that. I don't think she's the best teacher, but I do not think she's shitty enough to do that.
Yeah, it is a thing that happens.
Yes. Yeah. So I will say I do not think she would do that though. Oh yeah, I just wrote like, yeah, it's plausible in real life, but would a TNG teacher actually do shit like that? I don't know.
No, unless they were also an admiral.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Oh. Okay. Well, Worf is then like, okay, he's like, okay, well, you're not following Klingon rules. And like Worf, you're fully missing the point. Because he's like, you're not following the Klingon rules in the starship, so I'm going to send you to a Klingon school. Is there, okay, I got a lot of questions about the idea of the Klingon school, but I guess I'll leave that till later. I just heard a note that, okay, I'll talk about that later. Okay. I felt pretty bad for Alexander this episode.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like a little kid, and like a lot of shit has happened that like is really not fair to him. Okay, so like the wave is still going, the velocity has increased, it's heading towards a planet. Oh no. But by the time it gets there, it will take out most of the planet. Oh no. So then Worf goes to see Troy, and I was like, ooh, therapy? And Worf was like, he originally thought that Alexander needed a home, and family, which is something that he could not provide. So he sent Alexander to his parents, but, now fuck that noise. He wants him to go to, school away from him. Mm-hmm. So, then Troy, who like, listen, got to give credit where credit is due, does her job very well at this, like in this scene.
Yeah, Troy is actually like killing it this episode.
Yeah, she's like, well, how does Alexander feel about being sent away? Because he's probably feeling fucking abandoned because everybody keeps abandoning him. Some voluntarily, some not so voluntarily.
Yeah.
And the last time that Worf spoke to Kalar, like, was it they argued and, like, they were... Wait, what did I write? I don't know what I wrote. Anyways, he's, like, bummed about that. Okay, so, yeah, Troy coming through with therapy. So, then... okay. So then Alexander says to Worf, you care more about your honor than me. I mean...
Not too far off.
Yeah. If you could only save one thing, Worf, honor or Alexander, what are you going to save? One is physical, one is not, but I feel like he'd still go for the honor. Oh, Worf. So, like, okay, I keep, like, trying to skip over points that I, like, want to talk about after. This is difficult. Okay. Okay, so Worf is then ordered to the observation lounge, and they're trying to be like, okay, how do we stop the wave? So they should, like, try to, like, there's sort of two ways they can try to match the wave from the other direction to, like, kind of cancel it out, or they could have the Enterprise like go around it and like shoot a big thing at it and disrupt it, and yeah, so but the explosion is probably the more successful one, so they just have to get the Enterprise around it, but or I guess they go through it they just need to get to the other side of the wave to blow it up. Okay, so now so they're gonna do it, they get to the other side, Red alert, brace for impact. They shoot that shit. But oh no, and they have to evacuate certain decks and sectors because they will be contaminated with ion radiation. Oh no. But who's in one of these spaces that needs to be evacuated, even though Worf told him to stay in his quarters? It's Alexander in the museum with those things. Velcros? No.
Galvos, I think.
Galvos? Hold on, I wrote it down. Oh, Gilvos. Okay, so then, of course, the shit gets, like, moved around. There's some shit that happens. And then, oh no, there's a fire in Biolab 4. Who's in Biolab 4? It's Alexander. Okay, so then Picard gives Worf and Riker, like, 3 minutes. Because, well, he doesn't, in 3 minutes, the radiation's gonna, like, get in there. So, like, go save Alexander. Mm-hmm. So Riker initially can't open the door, but, Worf uses his, dad powers, I guess, gets the door open, and that room is filled with fire. But Worf and Riker can't lift this thing. They find Alexander, he's, like, at the back, but they can't lift this thing that's on top of him. But Worf can, once again using his dad powers.
Yeah, superhuman dad strength.
Yep.
Well,
he lifts a foam prop.
Well, he is Klingon, so he's already stronger than a human.
He's like Jean Valjean in Les Mis, where he lifts like that. What is it? A log?
I've never seen Les Mis.
I don't know. Yeah. The movie's a train wreck. Don't watch the movie.
Yeah.
Which one?
Oh, the 2012 or whatever.
The Russell Crowe one.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
It is.
Is it?
Okay.
Is it worse than the non-musical one from 20 years ago?
I have never seen the one from the non-musical one from 20 years ago.
It's Liam Neeson.
Oh,
Liam Neeson.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wait, who does Liam Neeson play?
Jean Valjean.
Oh, wild. Okay, here's the thing. I like the
Javert
music.
is played by Jeffrey Rush.
Oh, wild.
Yeah, he actually does a really good job, but the movie's weird.
Oh, wild. Huh. I could see that. Cool. I like the music from Les Mis, in which the movie fucks up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I could get into a whole rant, but
I just want to say one thing as like from a production design perspective and a directing perspective. They spent all this money making these incredible sets and then shot the entire movie in fucking close-ups. Like,
yeah,
what the
because
fuck?
because Tom Hooper was like, hey guys, great idea that no one's ever done before, but low-key, a bunch of productions have done this before.
Yeah.
We're gonna have all the actors sing live. And we're also going to completely like just have them focus on the singing and just all the close-ups, and it's gonna be terrible. But go with me on this. So that's why like some of the best songs sound like shit because like I watched a behind the scenes thing of like the actress who played Eponine. She's singing On My Own, and it's raining, and it's like all you hear is she sounds amazing, but like because she's like a West End actress, but then like they recorded it live, so they get the fucking rain in it.
Oh, God.
So the rain is in the whole fucking thing, and she's singing this like really powerful song, and it's fucking raining, and she's singing it live. I'm like, this is truly so utterly stupid. I hate when they do that. Let the people record in like the comfort of wherever, so then they can focus on the performance. Because even like, okay, Anne Hathaway's great, but she just cries through the entire I Dreamed a Dream. Mm-hmm. And because they're just focusing on the singing, and she just like, there is no progression. She like is crying the whole song. And it's just...
And also
and she's a great singer. It just, they took all these talented people and made them sound like shit. Well, not like shit, but just like it was... He was given all this talent and flubbed it.
And I've had to do on-set audio and like post audio, and like immediately when you said like the rain, I'm like, that's gonna be a fucking nightmare for audio.
Yep.
People, that's one of my biggest pet peeves, is people never fucking think of the audio, but it's so important.
Yeah.
Like, people will forgive bad visuals, but they're far less likely to forgive bad audio.
Yep. And this movie made me not like I can't deal with Hugh Jackman anymore. I used to love Hugh Jackman. Wolverine was my favorite X-Men. And
X-Men.
Since I was a kid, X-Men. Since I was a kid, and then with all the fucking close-ups, I was like, I don't ever want to see Hugh Jackman's face again. Because I also saw it in theaters, so like on the big screen, and I'm like, this is too much.
Yeah.
And also Russell Crowe is like...
That's the thing. It's like, he's not even... Okay,
He's not honestly that bad.
No, but
it's just...
He's not a... I know Les Mis isn't an opera, but he's not an opera singer. That's not what his vocals are more suited to, like, rock and things like that. He's not the right type of vocalist for this.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I don't know if he, like, could become a better, like, if he took voice lessons, because, like, the kind of, the Javert role is kind of, like, has that sort of, like, I don't know, kind of vibe to it, but he just, like, it felt more sing-talky.
Yeah.
And it just, like, it felt like almost like elementary school play.
Yeah.
And, man, everything with Javert in that movie makes me laugh, and I literally mean everything, even the end.
Well, the infamous, like, whoever the sound designer was,
oh my god,
made a genius
like
decision.
That squelch.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I laughed so hard.
Like,
I laughed in the theater. It was so inappropriate.
Yeah, spoilers if you've never seen Les Mis, but when he fucking, like, jumps off the bridge and he lands in the water, it's just this...
It's the wildest
horrible,
sound.
like, squelch.
It's the truly...
Yeah.
I burst out laughing.
It's the equivalent of, like, in Titanic when that guy falls and hits the propeller.
Oh, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Anyways, listen to the 21st anniversary of Les Mis on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's a great one. It's got a great cast. Even Nick Jonas is in it, and he's actually not bad. He's Marius. And listen, I'll allow it. He's not bad at all. He's not the best, but listen, I'll allow it.
Nice.
Okay. So, almost done the recap.
Yeah.
Thanks
Great.
for coming to Les Mis Corner. Okay, so, okay. Oh, yeah, so they rescue Alexander. Worf has Alexander, but, Riker also, don't worry, Riker gets to rescue something also. He rescues the Gilvos.
Great.
So, yay, they survive. Well, I mean, they were going to be extinct, so, like, I guess good for you, Alexander. You paid attention on your field trip, so, yay.
I love how visibly annoyed Riker is when he realizes he has to save him. He's like, no, they'll die! And he's just like, all right. He's like rolling his eyes.
Yeah.
He also,
He's like, kid, they're puppets. Come on.
He looks so funny holding the puppets, too, when they're
Yes.
In the
like,
hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Oh. But they're like in there for way more than 3 minutes. I'm like, aren't they, like, don't they need to get out of there for the radiation? Like, guys.
No, they'll be fine.
Boogie on out of there.
Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
So then,
Yeah, but it's a Star Trek countdown.
oh yes, that means it could take 3 minutes could actually be 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alexander, now we're in the sick bay. Alexander has a leg injury, some smoke inhalation, but he'll be fine. And Worf's like, listen, Klingon school is hard, but if you want to do regular school on the ship, we can do that. And Alexander's like, challenge accepted, and then it's done. So Alexander is now staying on the ship.
Yep. For the record, I will go back to the quote from the writers one more time in which they thought it would be a lot of fun to have a young Klingon and see what Worf is like as a father. And for the next 2.5 seasons, they don't have a lot of fun doing that.
Oh.
They try several times, but they clearly do not have fun doing it. For the record, this episode took a real long time to actually get off the ground. Supposedly, it sat in rewrites for quite a while before they could figure out how to even get it to work. And the Alexander portion was a story idea that got tacked onto another story idea that they also weren't particularly enthused by. Yeah.
Because I feel like almost the B plot could have been its own episode.
The B plot didn't have enough plot in it, though.
I feel like if they did something else with it, it could have been more interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
But because I feel like if they somehow found a way to beef it up, I would be fine with that. It's just the single plot where everybody, because I love when everybody gets to do a thing. Mm-hmm. When there's just one major thing and people get to be doing shit. But yeah, this was kind of I don't want to say a bummer, but
it kind of was a bummer.
I always skip this one, for the record. Part of that is because I don't like Alexander.
Fair.
Part of it is just the episode doesn't do it for me. There are a couple of Alexander episodes that I think are really good, but they're not good because they're Alexander episodes. They're good because they're Worf episodes. So yeah.
And I think that's the thing too. It's because Alexander just truly is just an annoying child.
Yes.
And
he's written like an annoying child too.
Yeah. He's
oh, so they got it accurate.
Yeah. So it's Wesley at least had his own personality and his own character. He was his own person.
Yep.
Alexander only exists in relation to Worf.
Yes. Yes, precisely.
He only exists to tell us something about Worf, and he's not really his own character. His character's a little too young to be his own character.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough.
But I mean, despite that, he shows up half a dozen times, and still, even episodes that revolve around him aren't really about his personality.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wild.
They just didn't really know how to write kids. That does change a bit as Star Trek goes on. DS9, I think, does a much better job with it. Voyager, to an extent, does a really weird job with it, in which they write their kids as adults, basically. And I think that's...
Which is just swinging way the other way in bad.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, TNG has already had this problem where it's written kids to be adults. This won't be the last time that we deal with a child character on TNG. There are better examples of it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is I think that Alexander, the way he's written, is accurate and is a kid, but it's also just annoying to have
It's not interesting.
Yeah, it's annoying to have a 6-year-old kid running around while you're doing Star Trek stuff.
On that note, though, Alexander does get a bit of a reintroduction in DS9, and they do an excellent job with him there. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it is a reintroduction. They are essentially rebuilding his character from scratch once they do that.
Yeah. And kind of fudge around with his age.
Yeah, his age doesn't make sense. In this episode, he shouldn't be more than a year and a half old. So that's a little strange.
Yeah, because I thought he was 3 or something, 3 or 4 years
By
old.
By the time of
the
Alexander's final appearance, he's depicted as a 21-year-old. He's depicted as a 20/21-year-old-ish. But chronologically, his age would be 9. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's very weird.
How soon do we get an episode where Picard is stuck having to take care of him? That seems definitely
that's probably the worst episode in the series.
There is a real episode?
Oh, no, I'm fucking with you.
Oh, okay.
I can't tell you anything about what will happen with Alexander. You will get some really cringe moments with him and adults.
Oh, cool.
There is one in particular that I cannot forget that may actually be one of the worst episodes, or at least one of the most forgettable ones. But I can't tell you any more than that. There is just some... They go some directions with this kid that I truly do not understand what they were thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I have some questions about... Okay, this truly... Okay, this might be me putting too much, asking for too much. But I'm going to ask it anyways on the off chance there is, in fact, an answer. This Klingon school. I half expected Jeff to interrupt me and just say no. Is Klingon, like, do we know stuff about Klingon?
No. No, we don't.
Okay, because we don't know anything about the Klingon school. Because I was
the thread is essentially, I'm going to send you to military school.
okay, because I was like, would this be boarding school? Because like he would need to stay there or something. Because then who would he live with? Kern? Was Kern gonna take care of Alexander on the planet?
It's like a boarding school. You live at the school.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, yeah, I would assume it'd be some kind of boarding school because otherwise, yeah, who the hell would Alexander stay with? We don't know what happened to Kalar's family.
That's a good question, actually.
Because maybe
Worf has no connection to them.
It doesn't seem like Kalar does either.
No, she kind of rejected the Klingon side of her history, so I doubt there's any option there. And the human side, that's a good question. We don't know. She wasn't around enough for us to know, unfortunately.
Rip. May her memory be a blessing.
It's okay. There'll be other good characters that you'll like.
God, but as much as her, she was great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we did have a couple episodes of characters I really liked. The lady, the singer at the club.
Yeah.
She was great. But Kayla will always have a special place in my heart. Mm-hmm. I had another question, but I don't remember what it is. Oh, but you know what? It's such a bummer because I was talking about this with my roommate yesterday after I finished the episode, and just like, I feel so bad for Alexander because like, he gets, I wouldn't even say abandoned by Kalar because that's not fair. She did not choose. She was murdered.
Yeah.
So like, she did not choose, and she wanted to be like with him so much that she took him with her everywhere as she was an ambassador.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like that like was really sweet, and the fact that like then the second she's gone, he just keeps being like, he's sent to, you know, his grandparents, people he didn't know, because he was also, it feels like Alexander is like old enough to have like you know, had somewhat of a nice life with Kalar. So like, and I'm sure he probably had a nice time with Worf's parents, but that's obviously different because he spent his entire life and up to that point with his mother, who like brought him around, and he was like part of stuff, and now he's shipped off to a place where he like has no, you know, emotional connection, or doesn't know at all. At least like when Sergei and Helena adopted Worf, like he was a baby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he was pretty young, so he wouldn't have known anything different. So like it just like it's like, so it was honestly really sad to just like I just felt so bad for Alexander this episode.
Yeah.
Because he just gets moved around, and like it's so I mean, this is again very wishful thinking, but like I hope Worf like pulls something out of his ass and becomes a good dad, or at least remembers his birthday.
Yeah.
Christ, Worf, it's like the first thing.
Well, fun fact about that. So Alexander suffers in TNG from obviously a troubled childhood with, you know, problems with parents. Pretty sure the original, the actor who ended up playing him also suffered from similar problems, because for a good like 15 years there, he had real big legal problems. He was getting caught like with DUIs, and had like a false imprisonment and assault accusations via his ex-girlfriend, and it's like there's some fucked up stuff with him. He was a messed up guy.
Well, he was a child actor.
Don't let your kids become child actors.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely that.
I feel like
the case. So some could turn out fine, but Christ.
I feel like the type of parent who like gets their kid into acting is like probably not great.
Yeah, there's an actress.
Like 99% of them, I'd say.
There's an actress who was on the, oh God, what's it called? The iCarly show? Is that what it's called?
I think that is a show.
Yeah. So there's an actress who is like on that show. She wasn't iCarly, because that was the kid from School of Rock, but she played another character on the show, and she released a book last year talking about how her mother was like the fucking worst.
Yeah.
It was called like I'm Glad My Mother's Dead or something.
Oh, I didn't realize she was the same
Something like that?
person. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Glad
don't
my
really
mom
know the
died or
TV
something,
show.
yeah.
Yeah, but I remember like seeing online all this stuff that like her she didn't really want to become an actor or something. Her mom forced her and then was like fucking terrible. But I guess you just have to have like good parents.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be a child actor. I don't know.
That's what I'm so afraid of. Like, it makes my blood boil, are these like family vloggers on YouTube and stuff. Because like
Yeah.
at least with like child actors, there are some legal protections, but there's nothing for kids that are part of like family vlogs and stuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because I mean, there's legal documents that are signed, like if you're in a movie, TV show, whatever, of like this, like, especially with money and education. And
Yeah, there's like labor
this stuff,
laws,
but-
like you
Yeah.
can't work certain hours, like
Yeah, but like for these family bloggers, like these children are being just fully exploited for views. Like there was a YouTube video I watched where like a person was doing commentary on, I think like a family vlogger or like a bunch of them. I don't remember if it was a single one or a bunch. But like they played like some kind of terrible practical joke on this child, and he was crying and threw a whole fit because he was like, he's a child. He's like
Yeah.
a little kid. And now they put that on the internet because it's like they can use it for clickbait. Like, oh, my kid was crying. Or like, what made this kid cry? And then like, I just think like 15 years from now, this kid has like his whole childhood that people watched online, which is so weird.
yeah.
Like his parents would film like not it's not even like, oh, you know, like little moments like, oh, a little birthday, but it's like everything. And it's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like these kids don't have a childhood. Like I think there's like I cannot take credit for this joke, but like I think I saw it on Twitter or I don't remember where I saw it, but it was like my kid's first words are like don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh God,
Yeah.
that's painful.
Oh, God.
I don't remember where I saw it. I can't take credit for it, but
Yeah.
like yeah, I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
Or don't forget to like check post notifications.
Yeah. Click the bell.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, no, children shouldn't know this shit.
Yeah. And there was like semi-recently, there was this mom who like got caught. She forgot to edit out a part of the video where they were taking their dog to the vet, and she was coaching the kid to like cry on demand for the thumbnail.
Oh God.
I think I saw this. I think I
Yeah.
saw this on TikTok, like somebody talking about it.
Yeah, it was really fucked up. She was like,
Yeah.
it was like, she does the vlog, and then, you know, at the end, she like does poses for the thumbnail, and she's like telling her kid, like, you need to cry, you need to cry. And he's like, he's already fucking crying because his dog's in the hospital. Like, but yeah, it was just fucked up. Because, like,
terrible.
that's the shit that, like, gets edited out usually. But,
Yeah.
like, that's the reality of it. Ugh. And, like, with actors, at least it's like, you know, people know you're like, it's just like, it's like acting roles on like TV shows or movies. Like these vloggers,
Yeah.
it's like these kids' lives.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't even get a break from it. It's just,
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, you know, the kids can only, like, under 18 can only film for a certain amount of hours. But these kids, because their parent, like, they can film, like, 16-hour days because their parents are like, yeah, no, it's cool, because there are no laws for it.
Yeah. And
It's pretty fucked.
And it's all internal too, because at least like on a movie set, it's like there's people like outside of the situation that are gonna like see what's happening with the kid, and like maybe no one will intervene or whatever, but at least like you're getting exposed to like outside people, right? With family vloggers, you can keep it all in the family and all inside the family, and like no one ever has to like see what's going on in the inner workings.
Yep. It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
And to like and people have like had children for the clickbait.
Yeah.
And there was like a couple who were going to adopt a child from, I don't remember which country, but the country had a law that was like they can't be put on the internet in the first year of their life. Mm-hmm. So these people were like, well, we're like influencers, so we're gonna say no thanks to this child because we want to put it on the internet.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fucking disgusting. You couldn't just like take care of the child had to be on your channel within the first year of its life.
Yes, extremely important.
Like you couldn't, that's disgusting. Like they did all this stuff to be like, yes, we want a child. No, you don't want a child. You want
an accessory.
You want basically a product.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so gross.
You want content.
Yep. Or there's the lady like a couple years ago who adopted the child and then she gave him away.
Yeah.
Because there was some like behavioral issues or something, and she did a whole series about that she was like adopting this child and blah blah blah, blah, like a ton of content about this kid, and then she just like gave him away because she was like, I don't really want to deal with him anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's terrible. If you're choosing to have a child, you have to kind of deal with everything that comes with it.
I think it's important to remember that there is a new type of fame that's been created where like a level of fame is more accessible than it had been in the future. You didn't necessarily need all of those connections or whatnot. You might get one viral video and you can, hit it big. But the kinds of people that end up seeking out to create the content that fuels all this to begin with, they're fucking weird.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah. That's like, I'm not even going to go into more detail than that. They're just fucking weird people. They're attention-seeking morons, and they create content for the sake of getting more attention and fueling their livelihood, and that's it. And everything that they do is focused around that. And I'm not saying this is every influencer. I'm not saying this is everyone on YouTube or anything like that. I could not tell you the percentages. I am just saying there is a breed of people who have access to fueling this lifestyle now with these attitudes.
Oh yeah. I'm well aware of that.
Yes.
It's just, it makes me sick that children get put in the middle of it.
Yep.
That
there needs to be laws about children. There needs to be more laws with like the internet.
Yeah.
Because so many things happen that just like there is no moderation. There's just there needs to be some labor laws with internet shit.
Yeah.
With kids, but there also needs to be something, I don't know. I'm not a lawmaker. I don't know what stuff, but I feel like there needs to be something.
Yeah.
More protections for children.
Like, to be honest, I don't think family vlogs should exist.
Yeah. No,
like,
I agreed. There is no reason people need to be watching other people's children like that.
Yeah. It just like, yeah. I just, there's no way to do it without, it's very hard to do it without being exploitative. And I feel like the risk of exploitation is just outweighed by any potential benefit, which is just like basically just entertainment. And I don't think like entertainment outweighs, like, not exploiting your kids on the internet. And
Yes.
like this isn't even touching on the fucking creeps that watch these channels.
Yep.
Like, which is a very real problem. And that, like, there are people who started like family channels or channels about their kids with decent intentions, and then they saw that the majority of their audience were adult men, and they're like, okay, no, I'm stopping this.
That's fair.
And there are some channels that, like, very obviously play into that audience, and it's really fucked up.
I don't know all the details, but there's like apparently a TikTok account where this woman is like exploiting her daughter who's like 4 or something.
Yeah.
In like a really truly horrific way. And like apparently this is like, I don't want to say pedophile city, but pedophile city.
Basically, yeah.
I don't know specifically what happens on that channel. I've just heard people talking about it. And I just know it's this mother puts her very, very, very young daughter in positions she should not be in and content she should not be making. And there are very gross people who are watching and enjoying it. And it's very, very bad.
Oof.
Should not be allowed. That mother should go to jail.
Yeah.
So I may have brought this up once before, and if I have, then I am sorry to retread, but I made an
Don't tread on
interesting
me.
discovery. Well, not
Sorry.
Thank you. I made okay. I wouldn't call it a discovery. I came to an interesting realization. Only like 2, maybe 3 years ago. I was watching an interview of Linus, who's the head of the Linus Tech Tips channel, and he was being interviewed by some person who her entire like YouTube content is focused on looking at the YouTube community, quote unquote, which is just the community of people making content specifically. So that's what I mean by the community, not like specific fan communities and whatnot. And I didn't really realize this before, but there is a lot of content specifically on YouTube, but also on other like influencer sites like Twitch and whatnot, where there is the deliberate presentation that this is being shot in my bedroom and I just set up a camera and I'm recording myself. And obviously the production quality is higher than that because we have access to more things than that nowadays. But that is a very, very common approach to creating content. And it makes things seem very personal. It makes it seem like, oh, I'm just tuning into this guy that I happen to be a fan of who, he's pretty cool. Sometimes I leave him comments and I'm sure he reads them and stuff like that. And this isn't all of these channels that do this, but there are a lot of them that I didn't realize until recently have writers. Even if it's presented in like I'm sitting here talking to my computer screen in my bedroom kind of thing. And I guess it just didn't really click with me that entire approach in a lot of cases, especially with bigger channels, is a facade. There is a team behind this. There is maybe a writing team behind this, maybe just one writer, who knows, but there is a concentrated thought process going into exactly what's being presented. And I mean, maybe that isn't quite so much on Twitch where things are being done live, but on YouTube that is definitely the case. And I guess that kind of makes me feel uncomfortable because the presentation is giving everybody one impression and it's not that impression. And these family vlogging things, obviously not all of them have like a team behind them, but I'm sure a good portion of the bigger ones do. So there's like a concentrated effort to create content while exploiting people and also being dishonest to their audience about how it's being presented. And fuck, I'm not down with that at all. I really don't like current content generation.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yes. For the record, guys, just a little background of us. The three of us are the entire team.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we
I
do
think,
script the whole thing before we record, though.
Yeah, that's why it's so concise.
Yeah.
That's the joke.
Yeah, I think if you're like really into YouTube a lot, that's not a surprise. I think a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of
fair. I've
it-
never
it de-
really been, so.
It depends on what corner of YouTube you're on and like what you're watching, because like a lot of bigger channels like make no secret behind the fact that they have a whole team, that they're a business,
Yes.
that they
Yeah,
have
that's
like
true.
editors and managers and all that kind of stuff. So I don't doubt that there are a lot that are like presenting this sort of false image of like I'm just a guy in his basement, or I'm just a girl in her room, like that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's less of a secret nowadays. I feel like people are or it's more of like an open secret these days, where
We've
it's like,
gotten wise.
That's fair.
yeah, we've gotten wise to it. Like, people are not really hiding that anymore. Like, it used to be like, if you had an editor that like wasn't yourself, like that was like kind of something you kept on the down low.
That makes
But like
sense,
now
yeah.
nowadays people even like openly address their editor like in the videos. They're
Yeah,
like,
I've seen that become used as a comedy bit quite a bit.
yeah. So I think that's less of an issue. And these family vloggers, like I don't think it's that people are writing things for them. They definitely have teams around them. Like there's a especially big family vlogger channel called the Ace Family.
Mm-hmm.
Like they throw like big events and shit, and like they definitely have like a team around them.
Oh yeah, okay.
But it's still very clearly the family like picking up the camera themselves and like making up these fake situations themselves and all that stuff, and creating these situations and like exploiting their kids and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a lot of I think it's just a general media literacy thing, where you have to be cognizant of the fact that like the majority of what you're seeing is not necessarily fake, but it could be fake, or it's extremely curated. You're seeing a very
that's fair.
tiny sliver of what people want you to see.
I think it's really easy to forget that with YouTube specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the whole appeal of YouTube is that it's a more personal, like, oh, I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
You know, people, like with traditional celebrities, it's like you have like this sort of separation of like, I'm up here and you're down there.
Yes.
And that's the sort of thing. Whereas YouTube, it's deliberately blurring those lines. Like
Yes.
if you've heard the phrase parasocial relationship
Yes.
before,
Yes, I have.
where it's like it feels like you're their friend, but they don't actually know you exist.
Yeah.
You know.
Because they're just a regular person.
Yeah, when they're not.
Yeah.
At least after they get to a certain point of like money and fame, right?
Yes.
I will also say I do find it weird when like the creator though says that like they love their audience. Like, okay, I watch a creator who does these like what are people wearing in New York videos, and he always at the end he's like, I love you guys, and I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
You don't know. That's weird because it feels like he's trying. Like, I know it's like a way you feel like for. I don't want to say it's like it's a manipulation tactic.
It
because
is.
like because yeah, then it makes the people like, oh, okay, well this is like for us, and he really cares, and then it gets more views, and you get more subscribers, and
yeah, because I think YouTubers and stuff definitely play into that. they play into this parasocial relationship.
Yeah.
Where they
It's
kind of
creepy.
encourage it for their own benefit.
I find it creepy.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't like it.
it's definitely creepy.
And I like YouTube. I've been watching YouTube for, Christ, billion years at this point. I love YouTube, but yeah, I very much over the years have changed what I watch because of, like, not just, like, you know, different creators' content, but, like, the creators themselves, how they speak to their fans.
Yeah.
I find is, like, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but
Yeah, no, I
think
know
at
what
this
you mean.
point, I think I just stick with, like, commentator YouTubers mostly at this point, because they don't really say, "Oh, I love you guys." They're just like, "Thanks for watching. Bye."
Yeah. I'm the same way too. I used to watch a lot of, like, Markiplier and other Let's Plays and stuff, but I started to get uncomfortable with sort of the relationship with the audience. Like, not that I thought they were doing necessarily anything wrong. It's just, like, I wasn't vibing with it anymore. It's, like, they're definitely they're playing to an audience that is younger than me, right? It doesn't feel like adult. It feels a little too like that they're taking advantage of the parasocial relationship in, like, an uncomfortable way.
I every time, like, that this guy, I'm not subscribed to him on purpose because I won't give him that subscribe, but I do want to watch his videos, even though I don't like the people I don't agree with the fashion that he, like, goes to people to talk to. Like, a lot of them, their outfits are like nothing. Christ. Anyways, my point though is, like, every time though he's like, "I love you guys," there's a clip from RuPaul's Drag Race from, like, oh god, I don't even know what season, but this is so niche, but it was a reunion episode, and this Queen Valentina was like, oh, she said, like, I love to this other Queen Pheromone. She's like, "Oh, I love you," and then Pheromone goes, "You don't love me." It's every time this creator is like, "I love you guys," I'm just like, "Pheromone, you don't love me." That's a very niche reference. You're welcome to my brother, who will understand that, who will listen to this episode at some point.
All right. I think we've gotten off track enough.
Yes.
So
yes.
let's go to favorite moments and lines of this episode.
I liked how excited Geordi was for this thing. Mm-hmm. And I like that Riker looked very unhappy carrying the Gilvos. And I like that Troy did some therapy and was right. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I liked that we got to see Helena again briefly.
Yeah, I'd say that, my favorite bit was the bit with Troy where she's talking Worf through, like, what's potentially going on with Alexander. That it's like, hey, have you considered that your son maybe is feeling abandoned by everybody? You know?
Man, this is a bad episode for Worf, but a great episode for Troy.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. This episode's kind of like, for me. It's meh.
Mine is when they come back from commercial and Worf opens up his journal in order to say, "Alexander has acted shamefully." And I'm just like, oh my fucking god, Worf. Could you fucking turn down the drama? Jesus Christ.
He should have just said, "Dear Diary."
Well, in that case, let's get to predictions for the next episode.
Okay.
So the next episode is one of my favorites. It's a Data episode.
Ooh.
And it's called Hero Worship.
Oh boy.
In this episode, Data rescues a child from a disaster.
Oh, when does he not at this
Yeah.
point? How many times has this happened? You know what my first thought was? I think I made a prediction last season about like I think it was Riker saving somebody from a car accident. First thing I thought was Data rescuing someone from a car accident.
Yeah.
But no, obviously not. Okay, so hero worship, Data saves a child.
Yeah. And that happens at the beginning of the episode. So what do you think happens as a result?
The child hero worships Data. And I'm gonna assume it goes poorly and creepy. Oh, no, okay, I shouldn't assume it goes creepy. Okay, assuming we're on the Enterprise the whole time. I know, a prediction where I don't say we go to a new planet. This is the one time we go to a new planet. Well, not the one time. This is definitely the episode we go to the new planet. But I'm going to say we're on the ship. Maybe a child is choking. And Data saves the kid with the Heimlich. And they're like, oh, wow. Or it could be, okay, say they're on the planet. This planet, I've decided it exists. And because Data's like strong in fights, and I feel like little boys like watching people fight or something. They like violence. So maybe like Data saves them. Maybe there's like, okay, they're on the planet and some like animal is like coming at this kid, and Data like fights off the animal. No, but I don't want an animal to be hurt. We're going back to the Heimlich, whatever. Yeah, so Data saves this kid doing the Heimlich, and this kid is like, oh, Data, oh, okay. So I feel like this kid is like, oh, Data, I owe you. Like, that's so amazing. And maybe he's like makes stuff for Data, like art, and maybe like knits him a sweater. I don't know. I feel like he just makes a bunch of shit for Data and is like, oh, can I be your like assistant, or can I get you stuff or something? Yeah, We're gonna go more wholesome. We're not gonna do creep. We're gonna do wholesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It's gonna be a creep, isn't it? No. It's gonna be wholesome. It's gonna be nice. We're rooting for Data.
Well, if you'd like to see if it's creepy or wholesome, watch along with us and join us for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.
And don't forget to like and subscribe. We love you guys.